Welcome to the US Kiss Vinyl Reference YouTube channel. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Alright folks, welcome back to another episode of the US Kiss Vinyl Reference. I am your host, Mike Stone, as always. And we're going to have probably a little bit shorter of an episode today because there's not a whole lot of variation here. So if you've been following along, you'll see that we're going to talk about Asylum. So, Asylum, if I had to pick a favorite non-makeup release, it would be either Asylum or Revenge, depends on what day it is. So not a whole lot of variations of the LP, only 145 to talk about, a couple variations of it, but like I said, this one ain't going to take a whole lot of time. So if you want, go ahead and get your stuff ready, and I will be back in a minute to talk about Asylum. Alright folks, welcome back. So as you heard just a second ago, we're going to talk about the Asylum album today. One of my favorites, like I said, either this one or Revenge, any which day of the week. So, couple of things about Asylum. It is the first official album with Bruce Kulick in the lineup. He joined like not many shows into the Animalized tour. I believe his first show was the Animalize live uncensored video. So Bruce Kulick has always been my guy in the non-makeup period of Kiss. His guitar style is kind of my wheelhouse a little bit, not too flashy, but just enough. A humble guy, so it's not way up there above everybody else. So yeah, I've always kind of got that vibe from Bruce. I can't say I've never met him. I have been introduced to him briefly at a Kiss convention, but I didn't get to say much past hi Bruce, and he had something he had to take care of real quick. So but he always put off the humble vibe to me. But anyway, so today is probably a day where Asylum is my favorite album. I love several songs off of Asylum: King of the Mountain, Tears Are Falling, Who Wants to Be Lonely. You can't really go wrong with Asylum. Let's see, what was it? Released in September of '85, I believe. If only there was a device where one can keep information as such. Asylum. According to my calendar, yes, September of 1985. So it seems to be a theme here lately. I believe Lick It Up and Animalize were released in September also. So must be a fiscal year kind of thing, time to get paid, whatever. I don't know. But anyway, so not a whole lot of variation to talk about today on the LP or the 45. So we've only got 145 to talk about. That's all the U.S. got. So let's go ahead and get started into it. And as always, we're going to start off with the promotional copy. And following the trend from creatures up to this point, we have a gold stamp on the jacket and nothing else. So I know I said gold stamp and it looks kind of silver, and that cover it's kind of hard to see since it's white and all, and then notice right here in the corner you got an 0704. It grabbed it for a second, but so with that, I have never seen another printing plant number on an Asylum jacket. I have, however, seen some Discogs listings that have jackets that don't have a barcode, and these are US Discogs listings. There's no such thing as a US Asylum that doesn't have a barcode. So any pictures you see like that, they've been doctored. Canadian jackets, I think some of them didn't have barcodes, but all the US did. Pretty much from Lick It Up forward, these were a thing. So, but like I said, the 0704, I've not seen another plant number besides that. And then we got our gold stamp right here. Hype sticker on the jacket, which we've talked before about my feelings about promotional copies coming sealed. I've had a few sealed retail copies of Asylum. That hype sticker has always been on the shrink wrap, so obviously it gets placed after the shrink. Well, here on the promotional copy, it got put on the jacket, so that kind of tells me this never got to the shrink wrap process. Alright, inner sleeve. So we've noticed in the last few releases that there have been some differences on these inner sleeves here in the 80s, and Asylum is no different. One notable thing is that if you orient this inner sleeve correctly, it opens from the side. And then right here in that bottom corner, there's a 521 on the inner sleeve. So there's a printing plant number where this was printed at. And as you might be able to tell from the camera, but this is glossy. So I've pointed out a couple of differences here that will come around here in a little bit. Oh, what am I doing? Alright, and then we have an insert here. Some copies of Asylum got this and some didn't, but this is a flyer for the Animalize Live Uncensored video. And I will put up images on the screen because there are variations to this. 2 of them that I know of. So you'll have an image here, an image here, an image here, and an image here of the differences in that I've found here. So, but yeah, my promo copy came to me with this, and then I've had several retail copies come to me with this. And I have also had a couple of retail copies of the non-makeup Creatures of the Night album come to me with this, which, I mean, would have been in the right time frame. So, alright. And now we will pull out the record here. So, we have a Mercury label, and I'll give you a chance to look around here. You will not find any promotional text anywhere. And also, there is no plant number anywhere on this label. So, it's just a plain Mercury label. And then another trend that we've had recently with promos and whatnot. So it shines through the record. And what color was this one? I forget. It's kind of like a greenish color, olive, almost gray. So there is the promotional copy for Asylum. Alright, and now let's get into the retail copies. So on the jacket here, it has that same 0704 in the lower corner, which my camera is kind of blurry for some reason, but we have another Animalize Live Uncensored insert. We have another side opening inner sleeve that has 521 printed on the lower part. And for the label on the album, it's that same Mercury label I just showed. There is no plant number anywhere on the label. It is exactly the same. The label is the same, however, the vinyl is not. So, as you can see, light does not shine through the record. So, whether that was done on purpose or for the promo or what, I mean, it sure seemed like it to me. Oop, come on. Cramming too much crap in here. There we go. And now, as of recently, I have seen something pop up on a reputable auction page. It shows this album cover with makeup designs printed on the jacket that are clearly done amateurishly with a magic marker. Please do not fall for that. That thing has been on Discogs several times. It's been on eBay more times than I can count. And now it's on Gotta Have Rock and Roll, the auction page. And I don't know who runs that site. I don't know how it's operated, if it's like one entity that operates every listing, or if they let individuals list their own stuff like eBay. But somehow that auction site is trying to pass that off as a genuine thing. And I mean, you know, a reputable auction site like that, for them to get fooled by something like that, it kind of lowers that credibility down a little bit. So this is the only way that the Asylum cover has ever looked officially. You can draw makeup designs on there, you can Photoshop makeup designs on there, none of them are real. So this is how it looked. Anything else is fake. So there's my little rant about that. And I forget how much that auction site's asking for it, but it's stupid money for something that looked like it was done by a third grader back in 1985. So, alright. Next up, we have another variation. So there's that 0704 again, that my camera has a hell of a lot of trouble picking up for some reason. There it is. And we have another uncensored insert, and yeah, you can see my hype sticker up there on the sleeve also. That's how I keep them. Again with the side opening inner sleeve. And the printed 521 on the inner sleeve. And the label almost looks the same, but if you look over to the far left side, right before the word manufactured, you see a number 53 on the label. So we got a different pressing plant for the label. A variation is a variation. Yeah, it seems like they got the printing plant situation under control to where they could pretty much get it all from one source, but they still had to have a couple of different pressing plants hammer these things out for demand, it looks like. So even though I didn't think that they sold a whole lot in the 80s, but I mean, I could be wrong about that. So. Alright. Next variation is another retail copy. '0704 on the jacket again. I do not have a insert with this one, but there's the hype sticker again. Another side opening inner sleeve with that 521 printed. And the vinyl. So you can see it's laid out a little bit different than the ones I showed you before. If you look over to the left hand side underneath where it says side 1 and stereo, you'll see a number 56. So that one, I had a friend just post in a group years ago. You know, he had the picture of his record spinning on the turntable, and I noticed that his label looked a little odd, and I had him shoot a picture of it to me, and lo and behold, it was a variation that wasn't known up to that point. So never know when a new variation is going to pop up. I mean, that friend of mine probably had that record for years and didn't know that it was different from the others. Alright, now we are getting into record clubs. And first up is Columbia House, CRC, whatever you want to call it. So there's a CRC printed right there in the lower right hand corner. We have, it's a glossy inner sleeve. Opens at the top. And there is no 521 printed on the inner sleeve. The vinyl looks just like the label that I showed you before, or pretty close to it, but if you notice under where it says side 1 and stereo, it says CRC. And like I said in the Animalize episode, we finally got CRC printed on the label for Animalize. I mean, there was 2 variations of Destroyer that have it, but then nothing else up until Animalize. And then Asylum gets it, and guess what? This is the last CRC LP in the KISS catalog. So CRC finally gets it right, and then for some reason or another, they do not get any more KISS releases. I'm going to say it's because they're pretty sure there's no future variations of future KISS albums that were printed in Columbia's plants. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. So that's just a guess on my part as to why there's no more CRC vinyl. Now, CDs and cassettes, yeah, that carried on, but this is the end of the road for CRC on vinyl. And then got another record club. This one is RCA, as can be seen by that text right there that's printed on the jacket. This is also the last RCA KISS record. So RCA and BMG kind of came together in 1985, I believe. So yes, this is the last RCA, and as far as I know, there's not a BMG version of this on vinyl. Now, I do believe on cassette there is an RCA and a BMG. I could be wrong. You know, if maybe a friend of mine that happens to have a rather large cassette collection that lives about, I don't know, hour and a half north and west of me, he might be able to correct me as such, but it seems like I remember him telling me that there was a RCA and a BMG version of the cassette. So Inner sleeve is glossy. It opens at the top. And the 521 returns. And the vinyl. So, looks pretty similar to the other Mercury labels I've shown. If you look over to the left hand side, it says stereo side 1, and then it gives the RCA license number. If you look over to the left or the right side, it gives you all the distributed under license from Polygram by RCA Music Service. So RCA was always real good about marking their stuff. I've said that probably almost every episode, so it's business as usual for them. When you get a CRC that's marked right, it's kind of a surprise. So all right. Then we skip ahead to the 2014 reissues from Kisteria. So this was not exclusive to the box set. I was almost going to say it wasn't part of the box set, but it was. So jacket's been reconstructed front and back. They redid the inner sleeve, and it opens at the top. And then the vinyl has that same Mercury label, except it says, it gives a 2014 date down at the bottom, so that can be distinguished from the from vintage copies. And when it comes to listening to Asylum, this is the record that gets the most traffic in my collection. I generally turn to the 2014 before anything for Asylum. So they haven't given this the colored vinyl reissue yet or any of that, so this is the most recent issue of Asylum in the USA, and like I said, this is the one I normally listen to. So alright, so that does it for the album. I told you it wasn't a whole lot of them. So now let's talk about some singles, and I'm not going to grab my 45s just yet because I've got a couple of 12-inch singles to talk about. So, first things first, we have a hype sticker there. This is what I call a company jacket. So if you take that hype sticker off, this jacket could be used for just about any release during this time period. It's not Kiss specific by any means. There's a gold stamp on the back, and then in the lower corner there's an 0501 printed. I've yet to see one with a different plant number. And I forgot to mention, but this is a 12-inch single for Tears Are Falling. Got plain white inner sleeve. And this is a promotional single that was sent for radio station airplay. So the label. If you look to the right hand side, right? Yeah. Underneath the catalog number, it says promotional copy, not for sale. If you look to the left hand side, it says side 1, stereo, 33 1/3 RPM, and there's a number 016, so that's a pressing plant number. Same thing on both sides. And then just for funsies, light shines through this one too, and it is that same olive green, almost gray color that the promotional copy of the album was. And by doing the same thing on both sides, as I've said in other episodes, the radio station can play it, wear one side out, flip it over, and they've got another side to play, so the record company doesn't have to send out another promotional copy. So it's just a cost-saving thing. Because yes, these cost money to make, but promotional copies are generally handed out for free, so basically the record company loses money on giving out promotional copies. So there is Tears Are Falling. The epitome of cheesy 80s videos. I had to really concentrate on doing that, even though I play guitar. Yeah, I'm not that coordinated. So, all right, next one up, and I mean they could have literally picked any other song to push. I mean, Who Wants to Be Lonely comes to mind. All Night. This is my least favorite song on the album. I mean, it's not a bad song. It's just corny enough to kind of keep me at bay. But, so this is another company sleeve. This is not Kiss specific. I call it an emerald. I mean, it kind of looks like a close-up of an emerald to me. It's got this funky little die cut. And then for the label, so look off to the right hand side above the catalog number, it says promotional copy, not for sale. Then on the left hand side, it'll say side 1, 33 1/3 RPM, stereo, and then it says 016. So it's got that same plant number as Tears Are Falling. And again, same thing on both sides. And light passes through this one as well. And this is kind of, well, it's the same greenish color. It's a little more pronounced to me. So another radio promo, and like I said, man, they could have picked any other song besides this one, but I mean, I guess for the demographic they was aiming for back in those days, this was catchy enough, but just sounds more like a Gene song to me than a Paul song. But I mean, they were both singing some pretty innuendo-laden stuff over the years. And another thing I forgot to point out, it don't show up on the back because I got my sleeve on, but this has a red 0704 in the corner. Haven't seen one of these with anything different. But I mean, yeah, I mean, King of the Mountain uh, Trial by Fire, I'm Alive, Love's a Deadly Weapon, they did do Tears Are Falling. They Who Wants to Be Lonely? They could have picked something else. And I did forget to mention earlier that they finally found a use for the Deadly Weapon song that's been floating around since The Elder. So that's all the 12-inch vinyl I have. Now, let's talk about some 45s. So we've got one 45 in the U.S., and that was Tears Are Falling, backed with Any Way You Slice It. Some other countries got a Who Wants to Be Lonely, I think. We did not. So we'll talk about the promo copy of Tears Are Falling. And there it is. On the left-hand side, it says promotional copy, not for sale. And then at the bottom of that, you see a number 016. This is the same thing printed on or pressed on both sides. So now there is a slight variation to this, and I'll show it for you. So notice on one of these, the text at the bottom is white, and if you look at the other side of the screen at the other one, the text is yellow. So that was pointed out to me by a friend of mine a while back. Actually, that same friend, I had bought a handful of 45s right at the very beginning of me being into 45s, and he told me, hey, I have got a bunch of extra 45s. If you're getting into these things, I'll send them to you. So he did. And among them, he had a spare promotional copy for Tears Are Falling. And then after it was all said and done, we figured out that mine had white text and his had yellow text. Alright. Retail copy. So we have a very original picture sleeve here. Front and back. Alright. And the vinyl. So if you look over to the left hand side, underneath where it says the time, you'll see a number 19. So there's the Tears Are Falling side. And Any Way You Slice It. And I have said in the past that if there is a promotional copy variation, you could usually find a stock copy that matches it. This instance here, I have not found a stock copy that matches the promo. And for funsies, on the back of the picture sleeve, there's a printed 0501 that my camera's not picking up. I've not seen a picture sleeve with a different plant number. And another variation, also in the picture sleeve, that same 0501 on the back. This time, if you look off to the left hand side, it says 45 RPM, KISS, ASCAP. It gives you the time, and then you see a number 72. So there's Tears Are Falling. And Any Way You Slice It. And that, folks, is the Asylum album. So, like I said, it was going to be a shorter one. And at first, I was going to combine this with Crazy Nights, but I felt it would have ran too long because Crazy Nights has a bit to talk about with 3 singles and whatnot. So I just decided to go ahead and make a short one out of Asylum on its own. So, as I said, it's my favorite, one of my favorite non-makeup albums. Matter of fact, as soon as I stop recording, I'm probably going to put that 2014 on the turntable and give it a spin. So, I appreciate you checking this out with me, and I will see you on the next one.